Imagine you are hungry, really hungry. You have no food left, but you have something else. You have a handful of shiny seashells. Could you trade those shells for a piece of meat? Could a shell actually save your life? Stay till the end. The last part will completely change how you think about ancient humans. Today we are talking about something you use every single day, without even thinking about it. Money, cash, coins, cards. But ancient humans had none of that. No coins, no paper bills, no banks, no apps on a phone. So how did they get food? How did they get tools? How did they get anything they needed to survive? The answer is stranger than you think, and it is going to blow your mind. Let's go back. Way back, tens of thousands of years ago. Picture a small group of humans living together. No stores, no malls, no delivery trucks. If you wanted something, you could not just walk into a shop and buy it. You had to make it yourself, or you had to get it from someone else. And that is where the real story begins. Imagine you are a hunter. You just caught a big animal, more meat than your family can eat before it goes bad. Meanwhile, your neighbor makes the sharpest stone tools in the whole camp, but he has no meat today. What do? You give him some of your meat, he gives you one of his tools. No money changed hands, no coins, no bills, just two people helping each other survive. This is called bartering, and it was the very first economy on Earth. But here's the shocking part. Bartering was not simple at all. It was messy. It was risky. Imagine you have fish, but you want shoes. You find someone who makes shoes. But guess what? That person does not want fish today. Maybe they already ate. Maybe they want fruit instead. Now what? Your fish is rotting in your hands, and you cannot force anyone to trade with you. This problem happened constantly. It even has a name today. Economists call it the double coincidence of wants. Both people had to want exactly what the other person had at exactly the same time. That almost never happened perfectly. So ancient humans got creative. They needed something everyone would accept, no matter what. Something that would not rot. Something that was easy to carry. Something rare enough to feel valuable. And slowly, without any government deciding it, different groups around the world started using different objects as a kind of early money. In some places, it was seashells. Tiny cowrie shells, especially in parts of Africa and Asia, were treated like treasure. They were shiny, they were hard to fake, and they came from faraway oceans, so they felt special and rare. In other places, it was salt. Yes, salt. The same stuff sitting in your kitchen right now used to be worth more than gold in some regions. Why? Because without refrigerators, salt was the only way to preserve meat and keep it from rotting. That made it incredibly valuable. Some historians even believe the word salary comes from salt, because ancient soldiers were sometimes paid in salt instead of coins. In some cultures, cattle became money. If you owned more cows, you were rich. You could trade a cow for land, for tools, for almost anything. Imagine walking up to buy a house and paying with a cow instead of cash. It sounds crazy today, but for thousands of years, that is exactly how wealth was measured. And that in some island communities, giant carved stones became currency. Picture stone discs so massive that people could not even move them. Instead of physically handing over the stone, everyone in the community just agreed and remembered who owned which stone. The value existed in memory and trust, not in the object moving hands at all. Sound familiar? That is basically how a bank transfer works today, just without the internet. Here is where it gets even wilder. All of these early currencies, shells, salt, cattle, stones, they all had one thing in common. They only worked because people trusted each other enough to believe they had value. Nobody could eat a seashell. Nobody could build a house out of cowrie shells. The shells were valuable because everyone agreed they were valuable. It's the exact same idea behind modern money today. Think about that for a second. The paper bill in your wallet right now is just paper. It cannot feed you. It cannot keep you warm. It has value only because millions of people agree to believe it does. Ancient humans figured this out first, with shells and salt and cattle. thousands of years before modern banks even existed. Now let's go even deeper. Because trade was not just about survival, it shaped how ancient humans lived, moved, and even fought. Groups that had access to rare resources, like flint for sharp tools or specific clays for pottery, became valuable trading partners. Entire trade routes were formed between tribes hundreds of miles apart, long before roads, wheels, or writing existed. Precious materials like obsidian, a natural volcanic glass used for extremely sharp blades, has been found in archaeological sites hundreds of miles from where it naturally occurs. That means ancient humans were traveling incredible distances or trading through multiple groups just to get valuable materials into the hands of people who needed them. This also created something unexpected. Early forms of specialization. Instead of every single person hunting, gathering, building, and crafting all by themselves, groups realized it was smarter for one person to focus on being an excellent toolmaker, while another focused on hunting, and another focused on gathering plants. Then, they would trade the results with each other. This is the exact same idea behind modern jobs today. You do not grow your own food, sew your own clothes, and build your own house all by yourself. You work one job, earn money, and trade that money for everything else you need. Ancient humans were doing a version of this long before money as we know it even existed. But bartering, shells, salt, and cattle all still had a massive problem. They were extremely inconvenient. Try imagining carrying 10 cows across a mountain just to trade for a house. Try imagining carrying heavy sacks of salt through a rainstorm, risking it dissolving completely. Ancient humans needed something better, something lighter, something more standard. And that is exactly what eventually led to the invention of metal coins. The very first coins appeared roughly 2,600 years ago in a region known as Lydia, in what is now modern-day Turkey. These coins were made from a natural mixture of gold and silver called electrum. For the first time in human history, people had a small, durable, easy-to-carry object with a fixed, agreed-upon value stamped right onto it. No more guessing whether 10 fish equaled 1 pair of shoes. No more worrying if your cow was healthy enough to be valuable. Coins solved that chaos almost overnight, and the idea spread rapidly across ancient civilizations. Here is the insight that connects everything back to your life today. Every single time you tap a card, every time you use an app to send money to a friend, every time you get paid for a job, you are participating in a system that started with a hungry human trading meat for a stone tool, tens of thousands of years ago. The method changed completely. Shells, salt, cattle, stone, coins, paper, and now digital numbers on a screen, but the core idea never changed. Humans need a way to trust each other enough to exchange value, without giving something away for nothing in return. And that leads to the truly mind-blowing part. Money was never really about the coins, the shells, or the cattle at all. It was always about trust. Ancient humans invented an entire invisible system, built purely on the belief that other people would honor an exchange, long before writing, long before laws, long before any government existed to enforce it. That trust is the real ancient invention, and it is still the exact foundation every single economy in the world runs on today. So the next time you glance at your phone and see your bank balance, remember, it is just numbers on a screen. It cannot feed you. It cannot build you shelter. It only works because, just like shells and salt and cattle thousands of years ago, we all agree to believe in it together. Ancient humans did not just survive without money. They invented the very idea of money itself, piece by piece,